What's up? What's up? What's going on? It's another video about the same boat, the $400 Skeeter Strata 480. Now, so far, after vacation, after going to work yesterday, I've barely been able to do anything. But before I left, I was able to put in the floor. This is 3 panels. This is the main panel right here that goes all the way here. Stops at the rod locker. This panel under here is shinier because that has already been coated on both sides with epoxy resin. So this is a odd shape going in that corner. So I need epoxy resin that and this board today. Still haven't taken out the seats and stuff. It's just more convenient to leave them and step on them and put stuff there because there are compartments below it. So this is another problem that I mentioned before. Let me turn this off. That I mentioned before is I raised the stringers in the back. So with me raising the stringers in the back, it actually puts the gas tank, at a higher level. Now, I'm going to find out between here and here is pretty close already. Now, if I put a piece of, I think this is only 1/2 inch plywood. All right. Got my piece of 1/2 inch plywood. I don't have my tripod out. Matter of fact, I don't even know where my tripod is. Oh, I see it. But anyway, so once I put this will be the decking. Let me put you guys down for a second. Well, actually, all right, sorry about that. So, all right, so now that I have the gap that I need in here, this right here is very, very close. And over here, behind here, this is where the gas hose goes to come out to here. So my worry is that it will be too tall, but it actually looks like, because I have a hose over there, and this hose is for the well. So it looks like everything is just right where it needs to be. My idea was, as you can see on the side of this tank, is I was going to drill a hole in the gas tank, put this here, and then move this, the one that goes up, because it's pretty tight. But I'm going to have to probably move this forward or maneuver it however I need to. But I was going to cut, let me try to move it over. I was going to cut a hole here for, they sell adapters for the gas line coming in. So I could just, fill it up as normal. But I don't want to damage this tank, and I really thought about it, is if you start cutting into a tank, not only is there, residual fuel, shouldn't be because I emptied it out. This tank has been sitting for a very long time. So, yeah, I'm not going to cut into the tank. I don't want to damage it. These tanks are super expensive. I mean, not like, well, in some cases, thousands of, $1,000. But $200 to me is expensive when I already have one that seems to work. There's no cracks in it. There's no point of damaging it and then having to get another one or potentially having to get a fuel cell, which the fuel cells, they aren't cheap either. I mean, you probably can find one on Facebook and hope to God that it has, it's being properly cleaned out and maintained. So with that being said, it's probably like between $200. So either you're going to find one online that's more, I guess, newer, you can say. But seeing that this motor or whatever motor you put on a bass boat is going to be a higher power motor. It's not like I'm going to put a tiller on here and then I could just till around the lake a little bit. This boat is meant to move, meant to go across the water pretty fast. So you're going to burn fuel. Will I ever fill this completely up? Before selling it, absolutely not. I'll probably only get enough so the pickup tubes and everything, you know, just are able to pick up the fuel and send it to the motor. Or I'll connect everything just to make sure that there are no leaks and stuff like that. And then the actual fuel sending unit, well, the gauge for the sending unit is right over there. It's still, I pulled it out when I pulled the motor. So that is the fuel sending unit. Not sending, I keep saying that, fuel sending unit. This is the fuel level. So inside of there, there's a component that tells you the level of the fuel, just like in a regular car or truck or whatever. So this will go most likely to the gauge that's right up there. So I don't know if that gauge works. I would assume it does. It was still on the boat. I don't think anybody had any problems with this. Now, you might be saying, hey, dude, why didn't you fill the foam up all the way to the top? Well, I ran out of foam. Now, the foam that's in the back and underneath this floor, the floor is raised up. So the floor is raised up about an inch and a half, all over the entire boat. Everything is slightly raised up because the way the floor was initially, it was dropped down, especially in the back. It was dropped down. So all this in the back is actually higher. So to fill in these voids will probably cost me another $100 and something, but it's all fiberglassed in. That foam right there is probably about 8 to 10 inches thick on both sides. So I'm not too worried about like the flotation levels of anything, you know, and I wasn't going to go out and order more foam only to pour. That right there will probably, I would probably end up cutting off more than than just pouring it or covering it, you know. So
and then we'll bake it.
these are, I'm just doing this in place. Not gonna get cut though. Not gonna get cut. I had to take the measurement for Alright, sorry about TV. Let me turn it down a little bit.
Well, either way, Ford Homes 2 Outback has had an entire 1,000 plus pound round bill.
Alright. Well,
So it's not
off camera, what I did was is you guys won't be able to see this right from the camera angle. But I measured that one block that's in the back of the boat is filled with foam. So it's 3 feet this way, going this way, and then I measured that from the corner out, how far that block. Oh, by the way, I'm using to get my straight edge. You can use another piece of straight edge wood, 2x4 if it's straight enough. I've been using a drywall T-square. I've been using this because it pretty much covers, you know, if you know about drywall, it's pretty much like roughly the same size as a. Knocker loose. Alright, get that out of the way. Can't wait to get all these wires done. Oh my goodness. It's kind of gonna be a pain in the butt to get in there. I'm ready to shade it down some more on the end. There's 3 feet. It's kind of long. Yeah, look at that. It's already hitting.
Yeah, buddy.
So I was worried about. Gotta move this wire out of the way. It's the full sending unit. those that think the jigsaw to it. Pops out on his own. All right, whatever. Watching Arms Family Homestead.
Seem to be getting along better than
Oh, they're using it out there. They got a really good channel.
maybe it's just because Isaac's getting old. Oh, you got
It's just like them in his farm life and stuff, though.
there you go.
I've been watching them for a long time. That dude
Be an old man.
makes some good videos.
With you,
Alright.
young bull.
What's up, number one? What that hose is for. Oh, that's back up. That's a back up. Back. Alright, this is what I end up having to do. Is I end up cutting this corner board. Cut this corner board because this box right here is not even. Going back is like a bubble. That and everything putting into account is just made it off, like completely off. So I cut it where I take my square, take my square and put a mark right here and then find out what the distance is here. Cut this to make it level. But then I thought about that's really wrong. They eat breakfast. Freaking hungry. Freaking angry. Whoa. Alright. Go there. Right there. Hose goes right there. That's what I gotta know. I don't want to crazy with this hose. That's cool to do. Oh shit. Let's cut that corner off. Alright, so alright, so we got this board in. I got it up to the corner. Had to do a weird cut. I did it all off camera, I apologize, but where you guys are seeing like the joints, you might see a gap, a small gap right here where I couldn't get like the perfect angle. Because nothing is perfectly square, especially my cuts. So with that being said, you know, I cut it out, notched it out, and I can actually move it over a little bit, or I can move that board over this way. That just gave me some more wiggle room. Still don't like that cut. I totally screwed up that cut over here. But that will be underneath the carpet, so I'm not horribly concerned. And I did that part because it's very weird. I'm learning as I go. So this part, I'm working on my measurements. Just got to see how long this board is, so see what I can use on it. Alright. So width, good on the width. Good on the width. Y'all. So now. 20. Most of them right here. figure it out once you get in there. I don't think it's the right side. I think this looks like this. Or actually the other way.
A new fund battling opioid crisis. The truth. James Graham let the Manchester drug crisis explode and made a fortune while her family's work defending criminals, traffickers, drug dealers.
Yeah, and all these little gaps in, well, you know, decent gaps. You don't have to worry about those because once you fiberglass it in, everything is going to fit really tight anyway. Oh, crap. Go that way. I'm going to put another board in there. Try to get this a little bit more leveled out back here for the batteries and whatnot. But I like it. But like I was saying, once you fiberglass this, get it all screwed in, excuse me. Everything's screwed in. It's all fiberglass. You're about to do your carpet. All you have to do is take some epoxy resin and do some fiberglass, more fiberglass work, sorry, and do the seams. Just go over the seams. Any seam that you got, just fiberglass it in. I mean, I don't know how the master boat builders would do this, but as far as like some DIYers, I mean, if you got quality, decent quality plywood, sorry it's not marine grade, but, and then you resin it where it's waterproof, and then you fiberglass the seams, and whatever you choose to put as the top layer, that has a protection on it. Like I talked to you about earlier about the carpet situation. I mean, what more can you honestly want? You know what I mean? I mean, this bass boat is from 1986. I don't think it's. I think us doing it this way is gonna last probably another 30 plus years. Because if and when someone buys this, they'll have a very solid foundation to keep it in a shed or keep it in the garage, you know, or they'll have at least a platform that they can work off of to take it to that next level of anything that they want to do to the boat. A new motor, new whatever, new electronics, because I'm not going to do a whole lot of electronics on this boat because that's more money than somebody who doesn't like Lorenz or somebody like doesn't like Garmin, whatever. All right, I think I'll probably just wrap this video up. I'll just probably put this together. I like watching videos where people, you know, do everything, they show you everything. I'm kind of getting an idea. I just got to shorten down the video so they're not like massively long. But yeah, so we got the wood put in, the cutout for that. I did not cut out this yet for the live well. So that'll be the last thing that I'm about to do right now is I'm about to look in there and make those cuts. Most of the cuts will be on that board because of the way I made this layout. Might is messing up over here. You can't see. Over here, I am going to cut out a square, well, rectangle. That way I can get to the bilge pump, and that will finally be it. Everything looked like it's fitting pretty good. Little gaps that you got, like I told you, you'll fill those in with fiberglass, plus putting epoxy resin on the boards to waterproof them will make everything a little bit tighter. And then once you put, you know, cover up the seams, it'll all be good. So I'm gonna finish up that and I'll show you guys the final results, and we'll cut this video, slap it all together, and get it out to you guys. Thanks. Okay, I got that cut. Oh, sorry. Once again, I am getting a cold. Well, I have a cold, I don't know. All right, but that's what I was talking about. Is right here. Is that'll lay down once I screw it all in. I just put it in there just to show you. But you want to leave that open. Here, I'll take you around so you can kind of see. You want to leave that open so you can get to your bilge pump And your live well pump, change them out because they go out pretty often. You can't really see, it's pretty dark in there. But yeah, there's a float in there too. There's the well pump. So with that also being said, this hose right here is going to go, it went over, let me pull it out. This hose went like in there. So I think I'm gonna try to, well, once I take this all apart, I'm gonna lay it in there. There's another piece that goes to it. I have it right here. Right here. So that goes onto that pump down there, and then this hose attached to this. Now when I got the boat, all this was rotted out, and I believe this went underneath also to go there, because it looks like you got plenty to do there. So that's what I'm gonna do once I take it all apart. Take all these panels out so I can fiberglass resin them, and then later on fiberglass them in. So that'll work out pretty good. Alright, so that'll be it for this video. What's up, guys and gals, or whoever's watching this? Alright, so when sanding these panels, you want a good sander, preferably probably a quarter one. If you got what you got, you got what you got, and that's totally fine. You know, I don't want you to have to go out, feel like you have to go out and purchase something new in order to do this, unless it's part of the process, really. I purchased a newer sander from Harbor Freight because mine just is not working very well. So step one, you're gonna have to sand these down, so you need an orbital sander or whatever your preference is. I mean, you can probably do this faster with like a belt sander, but a belt sander is pretty powerful, so you might go a little too far. You want a respirator of some sort. I'm not sure exactly what the cartridges are, but this cartridge is supposed to protect against a lot of inhalation of, I think it's supposed to handle heavier dust, working on vehicles, you know, and some like airborne chemicals that you may come in contact with, like some smoke. I don't know about 100% about that, but I know I've always purchased these or got them from work, and they do really well with all the dust, wood dust, all these chemicals that we'll be using. You want sandpaper to go with this. Now you can choose to get like a few, 2, 3, 4, however big your project is, and then I bought this, and this is 40 grit. I have 40, 60, 80, whichever one you choose. It really doesn't matter. I mean, obviously 80 is going to take longer to do it. 60 a little bit faster. 40 is pretty aggressive. If I'm really focusing on those corners and smoothing them out and rounding them out, you don't want to go too aggressive, because whatever happens, you'll get too aggressive, and now you're trying to play, like find the curve of the board or whatever. 60 is usually like a pretty nice medium. I just grabbed these for the sake of the video, and I had a bunch of them, so why not use them? After we sand, we clean it off with acetone, which, let me get rid of that. Alright, so your acetone right here, as it's labeled. Now this is 1 gallon. You won't need a 1 gallon container, but if you are redoing the boat, a boat in general, fiberglass in particular, or any body work, you're going to need acetone to clean your brushes, clean your tools, clean the surface and prep the surface. You're going to need acetone for all these things. And keep in mind, it is flammable. There is a warning massive warnings about being flammable and inhalation. So make sure you're in a well ventilated place for not only the epoxy, but you're in a good place for acetones or any cleaners that you use. Alright, with that being said, I got some gloves just so it's easier to maneuver this and pick them up and not get any splinters. These are the little paddles, little flexible paddles. Now you can get these on Amazon. I don't have a link for them, but you can get these on Amazon. They're just like, if you look up your epoxy resin, just epoxy resin paddles or spreader, these will pop up and they'll probably charge you, I think, like minimum of like $5 to $10 for a small set of them. Or you can get these, I think, from Home Depot, Lowe's, and probably Menards. They're just flat, some sort of rubbery plastic. They're flexible, and when you're spreading the material, you're spreading the epoxy resin, you can fan it out and curve it and really thin it out so you don't have a lot of low high spots, because it'll kind of self-level, but you also have to help it do its job. And with this being a two-part process, you know, I'll probably be alternating between this one and this one, just back and forth, because I have smaller pieces and I have larger pieces, and I'm not doing this all in one day. I'm gonna have to let it dry and then flip them over and then do the same process as far as epoxy resin tomorrow. That's why I think I'm gonna see how far I can get with these, one piece by piece. And if I feel like I'm not gonna have enough to do the opposite side, then I'm going to switch to the other liquid resin that I have. This might be common sense for you, for most of you, but you want some gloves, you want some decently good pair of gloves. I got the box over there, which I'll probably grab a second pair, because all gloves do rip. You messing around, moving the wood, trying to fine paddle everything, probably spilling a little bit on the floor, etc., etc. It's always good to have where you can just pop these off, throw them away, pop on a new pair. So I'll probably grab one of those. These are tiny, tiny cups, only 12 ounces, which is not too bad for what I'm doing. But if you're doing bigger pours, obviously you want to try to get a bigger cup. Try to get a much bigger cup, and all these cups, they have the ratios all the way around. Typically, with these cups, they're used for painting, mixing of chemicals and stuff like that. My mixture is 1-to-1 ratio, so equal parts to equal parts. Now, your epoxy resin, I don't know what it is, so you might want to definitely look at the directions and see if it's a 1-to-1 or a 2-to-1 or whatever the case may be. They have different ones labeled on here that'll help you out. Now, when doing epoxy resin, 3 cups. I'm gonna clean that up in this. We'll call that a nope. All right, so I got 3 cups. So in these cups, I'll measure out my epoxy resin itself. I'll mix up the hardener, or vice versa. It doesn't matter which cup you choose. And then I will put that into 1 cup. This cup will be the singular cup that I will pour out of in order to start spreading it all around. And for some of you, you probably get why I'm doing that, or why people do that. For others who don't know, it's because if I mix this chemical in here, 4, and I mix 4, that'll cut down my available time to use it. You don't have to do this. Let me explain. You guys do not have to do this. This is optional. It does give you time. Say if I went and I had about one part, and I'm not ready to mix yet. Something happened, something came up, something's going on, or, oh man, I forgot, I need to do this, or I need to clean them on boards, or whatever. Now you don't have to worry about, oh man, I have to rush and hurry up and use my mixture that I already had. In my case, I probably could get away with just using 1. Now, the 3-cup method will probably work really good for you if you're doing actual fiberglass work, because that will be, you know, one to one. You put those in the boat. You can have your cup, your third cup ready, and you can mix this in the boat. Stir it up in the boat, get it nice and that way you're ready to go. You're not mixing this up in the boat, and if you don't have anybody else with you, then you have to climb in the boat. You have to lay your fiberglass out how you want it. Maybe you have to cut your fiberglass. Those things take time, and this stuff is ready. It's ready to start tacking up. You know, especially the warmer the room is, it'll try to warm and humid. It'll try to tack up really fast. In this case, garage is still a little chilly. I'll probably just use 1 cup, and I'll just go equivalent to 4 and 4 on here. It says first and second. I'll probably do that and then just work my way over the larger boards. I don't know how that got so off, but whatever. One thing that I did not mention that you guys are probably looking at, besides this, is whatever board you're using or surface you're using, use plastic garbage bags. These are like the outdoor heavy duty garbage bags. They're not the thinner garbage bags. And now the reason why I'm using those is simply because when you are done and the epoxy resin has dried, it will not stick to this to the point where you're ripping plastic off into your piece. So you want to have a nice plastic surface, because if you have wood, epoxy resin is gonna bond that wood to that wood. Different type of materials. This board is actually it's just concrete board, but I'm pretty sure it probably was trying to stick to it. But for whatever reason, you know, once you do the epoxy and stuff, just use a garbage bag. Use however many garbage bags you need. At the end of the day, you can still use the garbage bag. It should be a little crunchy on the outside, but you can use it. All right, I think this is the last thing. Hopefully, you'll need some sort of stirrers. So I got my knife on me. So, so Home Depot, or I think I went to Lowe's. So I went to Lowe's and they said they were out of the normal paint stirrers, which I have one over there left I use for the foam, but it's like ginormous. So these popsicle sticks do the same thing. You just need something to stir. Something to stir. Well, stir up your mixture, something that's disposable. Now, when you're using these, you can clean it off and potentially reuse it for like almost the whole project. So you might not even need this many unless you break it or something. But I'll put them up here just in case, that way I can easily grab them. Once I'm done sanding, getting everything sanded down to what I like, I'm going to take the sander, I'm going to put it off to the side, the sandpaper off to the side, and I'll switch gears. And I'll start putting on my gloves, getting the epoxy ready, and so on and so forth for that. Acetone, and then I'll do all that process. Now with the acetone, putting it on, I'm just going to make sure I got on some gloves, put it on a paper towel, and then wipe everything down accordingly. Any tools that you use too, the acetone will clean them. So you can put some on a paper towel, and you can clean any surface that it may get off. If it gets on the floor and you don't want it on the floor, it's a big deal. It'll clean these paddles, which this paddle, as you can tell, I didn't clean it. I just scraped it. The fiberglass stuck to it, and it's still usable. Very good, you know. I think it was only like $4 for this. So, all right, let me get at it. I gotta throw some more wood in the wood burner. I'm gonna hit it up and start sanding all these boards out. And and get respirator up, and I'll try to do, maybe I'll just do a time lapse of all this stuff. All right. Thank you guys so much. Okay. Okay. So hopefully you were able to see all of it. But I got mixed up in one cup, and I was able to spread that over all panels with extra. So when I'm spreading it and using that paddle, I'm just working the middle, working my way to the outside, cleaning up the outsides, working the outsides a little bit, and then spreading it around. And as you start spreading around, you'll start noticing it's like a glassy, it's a jelly-like film that you're just going over. And as you kind of get a different angle on it, you'll notice dry spots in the wood. So the dry spots, obviously, you want to put the resin in it. So you can go over those, and then as you're cleaning off the board very lightly, you'll get a feel for it. I mean, I'm not an expert at it, but you'll get a feel for it where it just kind of floats over. You'll have excess on your paddle. Take that excess, and as you saw, it's going to the next paddle, and so on and so forth. Well, I was able to not really have to force so much on the small ones, and even when I got to the last one, that's actually, I got it on there pretty thick. And I was able to come back to the first board and then like get another coat on a couple areas that I saw dry. Now when I say dry, you'll notice that in this case it's a little different. This is drying, but as I'm putting it on, if it doesn't have a wet or shiny look, it still looks dry, kind of ashy looking, just like you just finished sanding it. Or after you put the acetone on, just, look at it and see it's really dry. All the acetone came through, and then once you start, pouring on there, you can kind of judge how much you need. Like I said, if you got extra, just go to the next board, go to the next board, go to the next board. As you can see, hopefully you can see, I was dumping it off on the next board, and I noticed I got a lot on that, so I went, dumped it off on another board, and then I got too much on there, dumped it off on another board. And you can actually go around, because the first two panels, they'll be dry and cured. So once you come back around, all you're doing is reinforcing the wood, so there's no worry with it. The one small little piece, I did do a little bit of the backside of it. It's sticking to the plastic, but it won't stick permanently. That's just one of the braces that I'm using for the back of the boat, just to help keep the plywood a little bit more sturdy, even though it is an 1/2 inch. I just don't want me flexing there later on. So, yeah, that was it. And then clean up, I put my cup, I wiped off my paddle with just a paper towel. This cup doesn't really have that much resin in it. I'm gonna let it dry and harden up. And you probably can use it again, or I'll probably just throw it away. So right now, I have the door cracked, which I'll crack it a little bit more. I have the fan blowing this way. I also have my wood burner, it's blowing, it's got fans on it that blow this way also. So I'm gonna make sure that everything is well ventilated in here, because I have my dogs, and this stuff isn't as flammable but it can be toxic just to breathe in, just like any chemical mixture. So you want a well-ventilated area. Next, respirator. What I'll probably do, since it's still kind of chilly outside, I'll crack this door open, leave my main door closed, and there is a draft blowing through this door right now, even with a crack. Just keep all that in mind, especially if you're using the epoxy resin that you mix that's similar to this. It's just regular liquid resin. That stuff will heat up and you can cause a fire in your garage or wherever you're doing it. The chemicals are a lot harsher on the eyes and the nose. So you absolutely want to follow all the directions per bottle. Now, should I have been wearing safety glasses? Absolutely, because, you know, it's a liquid, it's a gel, it could have gotten my eye. It's really hard for me to find the right safety glasses to wear with the respirator, and that's honestly no excuse, but for you, you know, I would recommend doing that just in case, especially when you start getting down low and you start working different areas. So that being said, I'm gonna call it for this one. I mean, tomorrow I'm gonna flip these over. They should be dry within a few hours, but I'm not gonna wait. So tomorrow I'm gonna flip them over. They're already saying it. They already have acetone on them. So all I have to do is make them another mixture. It's probably just a hair lighter than what I did, and then I can go back over on the opposite side and let those dry. Now, don't be discouraged. It is a time-consuming process. So if you do it and you have time in the other half of your day to put on the second coat, yes, absolutely, you can shave down time and do all this in one day. Me, I have to work, so this will be 2 parts within 2 days. And the third day, I'll be installing. So I'm not too mad about that. Things happen, you have to work. This is not my money making, this is not my job per se. So this is more of a hobby. So get it in where I can fit it in. So with that being said, I'll let you guys go. And when I come back, we'll be doing the opposite side of it.